Today we will be discussing the Doritos Crash the Super Bowl campaign, which has been running for 10 years. First, we will be introducing a background on the Doritos brand and company. Then we will talk in depth about the Crash the Super Bowl campaign, followed by an analysis of the success of the campaign. Doritos is a brand of seasoned tortilla chips owned by Frito-Lay that is a subsidiary of PepsiCo. It was first produced in 1964. Originally, the product was made at Casa de Fritos at Disneyland in Anaheim, California, where they made traditional Mexican chips but topped them with seasoning. At the time, the vice president of marketing of Frito-Lay, Arch West, made a deal with Alex Foods in 1964 after seeing the popularity of the chips. Alex Foods was the provider of different items for Casa de Fritos in Disneyland. Frito-Lay first started producing the chips regionally, but after an overwhelming volume, they moved production in-house to their Tulsa plants. In 1966, 2 years after making a deal with Alex Foods from Disneyland, Doritos were released nationwide. It was the first tortilla chip to be launched nationally in the United States. The name is derived from Doradito, which means golden brown in Mexican Spanish. So we'll briefly take you through a timeline of Doritos. In 1993, it is reported that Doritos earned $1.3 billion in retail sales, which accounted for a total of 1/3 of sales for Frito-Lay that year. In 1994, Frito-Lay invested $50 million in order to redesign Doritos, making the chips 20% larger, 15% thinner, and rounding the edges of the chips. This was one of the costliest redesigns in Frito-Lay history. Robert J. Berdusco, the vice president of tortilla chip marketing, said that the primary reason for this change was due to the greater competition from restaurant-style tortilla chips that are larger and more strongly seasoned. This redesign came after a total of 2 years of market research that included a study of 5,000 chip eaters. The new design rounded the corners of the chips to make it easier to eat and to reduce the scraps resulting from broken corners. The chips were given more seasoning, which gave the chip a stronger flavor. The redesign was released in January of 1995 in 4 different flavors. In 2002, Frito-Lay made the decision to remove trans fat from all varieties of Doritos in the United States. They also began to comply with the labeling regulations set by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, 4 years before it became mandatory. In 2005, Doritos sales fell by 1.7% in the United States to $595 million. So in 2006, to increase sales, the company launched many new flavors, a new label, and a bilingual advertising campaign. The vice president of Frito-Lay, Joe Ennen, described it as being the most significant rebranding and relaunch in Doritos' 38-year history. In 2013, the logo for Doritos changed again and they began advertising the slogan, "For the Bold." This change was not announced but is found on all flavors of Doritos. In 2015, Doritos introduced a limited edition of Rainbow Doritos products, which were available to people that made a minimum donation of $10 to the It Gets Better project, which is a non-profit organization that supports LGBT youth. This promotion raised $100,000 for the organization, but there was also a lot of controversy surrounding this campaign. Overall, Doritos has had a lot of success in its 49-year history and has had many successful campaigns, which leads into their current digital marketing campaign that has proved to be a very successful campaign for the company. Frito-Lay began a competition entitled Crash the Super Bowl in 2006, where they invited consumers to create their own ad for Doritos. The winner of the competition will have their fan made ad air at the Super Bowl, which is the annual championship game of the National Football League in the United States. More recently, they began offering bonus prizes ranging from $400,000 to $1 million for an ad that scored a top spot on the USA Today Super Bowl ad meter poll. The Crash the Super Bowl contest has quickly become one of the largest online video contests in the world. In the 2011 to 2012 installment, Frito-Lay received more than 6,100 submissions and paid more than $2,125,000 worth of prizes. We will quickly take you through the website for the campaign to show you how it works briefly before getting into the case. So when you go on the Crash the Super Bowl website, this is what you find. It shows you how it works and what the prize is this year for the winning ad, which is $1 million, as we can see, plus a gig with Warner Brothers and DC Comics. And briefly, they explain how the competition works. So you make a video that is 30 seconds long. Once you submit it, the videos will be chosen and categorized, and then customers will have a chance to vote, and they will announce the winner on February 7th during the Super Bowl. So under this tab, it will show us all the semi-finalists that were chosen, and people can browse through the different ads and videos in order to choose which one is their favorite and which one they would like to vote for. Eventually, the top 5 finalists will be selected to move forward in the competition. So this can just show you how the website works and the layout of it. In the fall of 2006, Frito-Lay launched the first installment of their Crash the Super Bowl contest with the help of Goodbye Silverstein and Partners, an ad agency, along with a promotional agency, the marketing arm. They asked consumers to create a 30-second commercial for Doritos products. Among them, one would be aired during the Super Bowl halftime. They had a total of 1,065 ad entries that were submitted and displayed on the contest site, crashthesuperbowl.com. From these entries, 5 were selected as finalists, of which each finalist received a cash prize of $10,000 and a trip for 2 to the Super Bowl XLI in February 2007, where they would watch the game from a private party near the stadium. The finalists' ads were posted on the contest website for a public vote that would last a month. The finalists do not know who the ad winner was until the ad aired during the Super Bowl, which became a tradition for the contest. The first-year winner, Live the Flavor, was not only the first consumer-generated ad to air during the Super Bowl, but was also ranked number 4 best commercial of the game on the USA Today Ad Meter poll. Frito-Lay also surprised the finalists by airing a second Crash the Super Bowl ad called Checkout Girl. After the success of these 2 ads, Frito-Lay's PR company, Ketchum Inc., won a Golden World Award from the International Public Relations Association for their work on the 2006 to 2007 installment of the Crash the Super Bowl contest. Also, according to the International Public Relations Association, the Crash the Super Bowl competition increased sales of Doritos by 7% in January 2007, and nearly 1 million people visited the Crash the Super Bowl website to view videos and vote for finalists. Frito-Lay also decided to air all 5 commercials that had made it to the finals in the months following the Super Bowl.
Frito-Lay announced that they would run the competition again the next year, but instead of it being a commercial contest, they were giving aspiring musicians the chance to have their music heard by millions of viewers. They were also going to give them a record deal with Interscope Geffen A&M Records. The winner would be determined through a public vote, who turned out to be Keena Granis, a 22-year-old whose music video was aired for 60 seconds during commercial time by Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay also aired a Crash the Super Bowl finalist ad from the previous year, 2006 to 2007, during the Super Bowl. This time around, they challenged users stating that if a consumer-made Doritos commercial could make the number one spot on the USA Today ad meter poll, they would award the ad's creator a $1 million bonus, raising the stakes. However, they only had around 1,961 entries, which is not that much higher than the previous years. They also increased the prize for the top 5 finalists and gave them $25,000 when it was only $10,000 in the first year. However, the ad that won the public vote did make it to the number one spot in the ad meter poll in 2009, and the Herbert brothers, creators of the commercials, won the $1 million prize. For the next installments of the Crash the Super Bowl ad, Frito-Lay continued to increase the prizes for consumers and raise the stakes. Some of these included a Take the Top 3, where they wanted to fill the top 3 spots in the USA Today ad meter poll. They awarded bonus prizes ranging from $400,000 to $1 million to those top 3 winners. Frito-Lay also chose to air more than one of the finalists' ads during the Super Bowl and continued to offer $25,000 for finalists as well as a trip for two to the Super Bowl. In 1 year, they announced that Pepsi Max would join Doritos and ask consumers to submit 30-second commercials for either product. 3 commercials for each product were aired during the 2011 Super Bowl. They continued to award bonuses to those whose commercial reached the top 3 spots of the USA Today ad meter poll. By 2011, Frito-Lay started receiving over 6,000 submissions for the Crash the Super Bowl contest. In 2012, they actually awarded 2 $1 million bonuses, one for the number one ad of the game on USA Today ad meter poll, and another bonus to an ad that won a second poll run by Facebook. In 2013, for the 6th installment, the ad with the highest score on the meter poll would win a job working with director Michael Bay on Transformers: Age of Extinction. They moved their poll in 2012 from catchthesuperbowl.com to Facebook as a contest app for the first time. This was the first year that no ad made the top 3 spots on the USA Today ad meter poll, but the highest did get to work on the Transformers movie as promised. In 2013, they expanded the competition by allowing international entries for the first time, as long as they lived in any country where Doritos were sold. However, rather than awarding bonuses, they promised that the ad that won the most votes would be awarded a $1 million prize. They continued this in 2014 by only rewarding a prize to the ad with the most votes. This year, in September 2015, Frito-Lay announced that the 2016 Crash the Super Bowl contest would be the final edition of the contest. After 10 years of running the Crash the Super Bowl campaign, Frito-Lay announced that the 2016 installment would be the last of the Crash the Super Bowl contest. They are still keeping their $1 million prize to the winner of the contest, as well as allowing the winning ads creator to work with director Zack Snyder, 300 Man of Steel, who is currently working on Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. The winner will work with him on an undisclosed with Warner Brothers and DC Comics. In 2015, they are also the first Super Bowl advertiser to use Google, Yahoo, and Bing search ads for the Super Bowl related queries.
According to one of our sources, there are 5 main reasons why the campaign was so successful for the last 10 years. So, firstly, it unlocks the brand meaning. This contest asked for fans to answer the most personal, brand relevant question: what does the brand mean to you? Evoking the emotional connection that already exists between the customer and the brand. Secondly, it's personal. Advertising, especially big budget Super Bowl sized TV advertising, appeals to the highest audience possible, but this contest also evoked personal, even intimate engagement. Thirdly, it's storytelling. The contest didn't list brand features or benefits, rather, the contestants authored stories in the form of a 30-second video, and stories connect and engage. Fourthly, this participation is a chain reaction. So the participants were highly engaged in the creation, not only watching but voting and also sharing. Customers demonstrated increasing levels of commitment to the brand and the contest. The videos from the 10 finalists attained a total reach of over 7,100,000 views on YouTube alone. And lastly, it rewards true believers. The true fans are the very ones who deserve to be rewarded. Watching their stories being shared and voted on, and possibly chosen for wide release, is an uncommon way for a consumer to be appreciated. While Doritos may not have access to the data linking individual customer participation or viewing with the subsequent purchase, as our research did, by that I mean the resource that we got our information from. We know that we we know that they know the power of having customers share what Doritos mean to them. Moving on, um, the campaign was an effective social media campaign that generated a whirlwind of Super Bowl buzz. The company was able to use participatory marketing, which is the idea that people are not just passive recipients of the campaign, but instead they are active producers and distributors of the brand content of all kinds. They were able to target their consumers in a new way, and to involve their consumer into the company's advertising. Their marketing technique was a success because they were able to get people involved, not only in producing, but they were also engaged to vote, to tweet about it, and to overall spread the word about the campaign through social media. The success of the company also comes from the viewer's response. As the advertisements um, submissions in this case aren't overly produced, they have a certain authenticity that the viewers enjoy, which is why the campaign gets a lot of views and is overly anticipated annually. Doritos was able to create a buzz surrounding their products because of the competition that they have held over the past 10 years. They have gotten thousands of submissions, but most importantly, had ads in the top spots of the US Today ad meter poll consecutively over the years. The participatory form of marketing encouraged users to engage and, as a result, increased the sales of Doritos in the United States. By using social media to their advantage, they were able to spread more awareness and to get people involved, which proved to be a success. Moreover, by allowing users to vote for their favorite ads, it was an additional way for them to connect users in the process of selecting an ad that would air during the Super Bowl, creating suspense and anticipation. While a 30-second ad airtime during the Super Bowl cost $40 million, Doritos is able to stretch this by allowing users to view and vote for ads in the months leading up to the Super Bowl, which is an added bonus. They have also made the decision in the past to air more than one winning ad from the finalists, and that was due to popularity. Usually, companies like to keep their ad for the Super Bowl under wraps and as a surprise, and which is different than the approach Dorito has taken. This seems to have paid off though, since their ads are consistently one of the highest ranks of the polls. As we evaluate the campaign, we see that increasingly companies are adapting the same method that was used in the campaign by involving consumers, and these companies seem to rely on the same lowbrow devices. Nonetheless, the campaign still works and is still successful. Doritos had two of the four most effective Super Bowl ads last year, which evaluates video ad effectiveness. User generated Super Bowl spots peaked in 2007 when Doritos introduced Crash the Super Bowl. The campaign evolves annually, and they continue to add new additions to the winning prize. The person whose Crash ad scores the highest on the US Today Ad Meter poll will get the chance to work with the director, Michael Bay, on the next installment of the Transformers movie franchise. Doritos also enjoys high brand awareness and big sales, so it doesn't have to worry about crafting a fine-honed message as much as some other Super Bowl advertisers do. Promoting the contest, inventing entries takes time and money, and that's before funding the prizes. Um, However, Doritos this year will still reward 1 million to the winner, and as well as awarding two additional prizes, 100,000 each, and a chance of two bonus winners to consult on an upcoming project for Doritos. As usual, Doritos plugged the promotion this year with a paid media buzz, uh, with the with paid media buys in venues such as Facebook, which this year hosted the voting platform for the very first time. The number of submissions fell by about half from last year's 6,100, but Doritos says that it's an effect of previous winners' high quality. Last year, in the 4 weeks ending January 29th, while Crash was being promoted, Doritos sales increased by 7.49%, slightly below the tortilla tosta category average, according to Symphony RII. In the 4 week period ending February 26th, Doritos sales grew by 5.45%, less than 6.44% category growth overall. So, moving on to evaluating the campaign in terms of strengths and weaknesses, Doritos used the consumer-created ads from the contest all year long, saying the ads helped sales grow by 5.8% from February 6th, the day after the Super Bowl, through December the 31st, compared with a similar period in 2011. So, Doritos wanted to be the face of an influential and attention grabbing campaign unlike any other, and they did just that. The following are the strengths from the campaign. So, firstly, go big or go home. That was the motto that was viewed as catchy and risky to consumers, making it appealing to them. Secondly, research showed Doritos has a strong fan base that is present on social media platforms, which was a strength to them because the campaign to get more buzz. 2007 and 2008 Super Bowl spots ranked number 4 in the Super Bowl ad meter, proving that there was a success in the campaign prior to 2009. Campaign prize incentive for consumers could gain more interest, and Super Bowl media coverage and attention could gain interest in the company overall. So, not just for the campaign, but also for the products, the Dorito products that the company is providing. And as Doritos is a well known top selling snack company and leader in the snack sector, it helped them in being successful in the campaign. Moving on to the weaknesses of this campaign. So, Doritos previously did not take the number 1 ad meter Super Bowl for at least 10 years consecutively. Consumer generated content could be terminal to the brand because Doritos doesn't know what the consumer is gonna generate and that they're going to have to post on their website. Consumer generated content must competes with content created by top high budget ad agency content. And if the campaign fails to top ad meter, Doritos' reputation is at risk. And uh, if it does fail, Doritos could potentially lose some brand supporters. However, as we explained before, these weaknesses were overcome and were not a problem for Doritos, as they were able to successfully launch this campaign annually for many years and reduce the risks of the reputation being at risk or losing brand supporters.
The tortilla and tostado chips are among the best selling salty snacks in the United States, as highlighted in a recent study, with forecasted 2015 sales worth more than 3.8 billion US dollars. They place third after crackers and potato chips. Currently, Frito-Lay is the leading tortilla and tostada chip vendor in the United States based on their sales. Frito-Lay actually owns 5 of the 10 most successful tortilla chip brands in the United States, including Doritos. As of 2014, PepsiCo is the largest player in the entire snack industry, the savory snack industry in the United States, and they have a market share of 36%. Financially, we can see the success of Doritos in comparison to other tortilla chip brands. According to Statista, Doritos was the top ranked tortilla tostado chip in the United States in 2015. They have had about $1.35 billion worth of sales in the United States this year. As we can see from this graph, they are dominating the market and are far ahead than the other brands. Part of this success can be attributed to the Crash the Super Bowl campaign that has been ongoing for the past 10 years. As we have shown previously, that the ads did in fact lead to an increase in sales for Doritos yearly. So our overall remarks on this campaign is that Doritos has been very successful in creating creative, extraordinary ads for the Super Bowl. Doritos changed how everyone looked at the Super Bowl ads ever since 2007, when it released the first ever consumer created Super Bowl ad. The idea behind the Doritos campaign was simple yet innovative. Doritos asked its fans to submit their own original videos for the chance to win the Super Bowl slot. Over the next 9 years, their fans have consistently showed up to play, submitting thousands of videos and pulling together to comment, vote, and share their favorites. While most brands yell to catch the celebrity of the year and think up the commercial that will knock all the crowd off their feet, Doritos has trusted its number one fan base, its audience, with creating their Super Bowl commercial. The campaign has no doubt been a success, enough so that Doritos has made few changes to the competition in the past years. Crowdsourced campaigns have gained traction both in and out of the Super Bowl sphere, but there is no user-generated content marketing campaign as illustrious as Doritos. And whether or not Doritos commercials are the best each year, they take the lead for the best marketing innovation fueled by user content. The Doritos Crash the Super Bowl campaign is an example of an excellent and successfully public relations campaign. The use of social media and consumer-generated content allowed for continuous media coverage and brand attention surrounding one of advertising's biggest platforms, the Super Bowl. One big lesson companies and PR professionals should take away from this campaign is the power of social media and video sharing sites to engage a brand's core audience. Another important lesson learned from this campaign is that contests attract attention. The motivating factor of $1 million is important and exciting to consumers. If a company wants to get their core audience involved in their brand, offering rewards is a great way to do that. The biggest lesson other companies can learn from Frito-Lay and Doritos is that the consumers' voices need to be heard and understood in order to create a successful brand. Doritos put their trust in their customers and delivered advertising products that they were interested in and felt connected to. By giving power to the fans, Doritos was able to maintain media coverage for more than 6 months and capture the top spots in the 2009 Super Bowl ad meter, as well as the years after. Consumers and Americans felt connected to the brand because their opinions and ideas played an integral part in the 2009 Super Bowl. So, overall, the Crash the Super Bowl campaign has been very successful for Doritos in the past 10 years, and it has gotten a lot of attention for the brand.